and the future development. So I'd like to give the floor to the General Secretary Rajesh Gopal, so the General Secretary of the Forum. I'd like to see that he's a big leader and a specialist and a great person that we go back many years. We've known each other for many years, and his experience of managing this system and the forum and the foundation. There's the Tiger Foundation. It's the only one in the world, and we certainly want this foundation to be an example, a good example for our country as to how the work should be organized to make sure that the specifics of the protection of a certain species could be extrapolated onto the whole system. So the importance of this species will support the idea of the importance of the species in the global system. So we're happy to welcome you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Chairman, Mr. Americano. So good to see you again, but virtually though. So, dear dignitaries on the dais, ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, wild tiger conservation. As the chairman remarked, over the years, it has been a great saga of learning. We all are familiar with the age-old saying, we build our ship as we sail. This aptly applies to wild tiger governance. Every country, as a sovereign issue, has come out with its own set of practices. We respect them. Countries like India and Russia. Last time when I was in Vladivostok, and we had a good fortune of visiting along with Dr. Yadav, my colleague, the Sikh Hotel in Tiger area. The director gave us a very nice presentation. The history of conservation is dates back prior to what was thought of in India as well. 1910, 1920, they standardized all those pugmark, spoor identification and fixing identities in Russia. That's commendable. Likewise, we have examples in every tiger range country. So great journey of learning, and a lot of practices have emerged over the years. Now, the practices broadly can be divided into two. After seeing them for almost over 50 long years, India is going to organize a big event, I believe, next year when they're going to complete 50 years of Project Tiger. So more on that, perhaps Dr. Yadav may say. But so many things happened in the field. And as far as TRCs are concerned, so many things, a lot of conflict situations where they overcame all that and came out with a set of practices. The National Tiger Recovery Program, thus, can be considered is rather a composite portfolio of all good national sovereign actions which a country has put forth to strengthen the wild tigers in their area, natural area. Two distinct agendas emerge. One way of looking at this is the good practices. One is the agenda for tiger. The other one, the agenda for people. One can't be diverse from the other. And if we try to do that, we'll fail. That is what the learning has been over the years. They are intricately interlinked. if you have an aggressive set of actions for generating a reproductive surplus in tiger source areas, you need an equally aggressive, complementary, inclusive agenda in the peripheral buffer areas and beyond. So you need the source area, their consolidation, set of practices, good practices, what went wrong, what was very good, and why some areas succeeded, why some couldn't. And then you have a set of practices for the immediate periphery, the zone of influence, where you have the interface, human beings, tigers, the land uses of people and the problems and the killings and the depredation. And then beyond, the demand for land, the practices of development, everything we know. All these things bring in a lot of changes in the landscape, and tigers suffer. So we need everything. We need to dovetail our practices, tiger practices, with those practices which are there in different sectors, especially sectors where tiger is not the goal. We don't want every sector in the country. Of course not. I mean, we can't expect them to have a tiger agenda, but they can certainly do certain things, certainly refrain from doing certain things, which we call as tiger filters. Now, to briefly sum up, at three levels you need to act, and that is these are the practices which have which are in place, which are in vogue. One is the federal level, the national level, the bilaterals, the engagement with other countries, set of actions, the enabling policy, the legislation to give the grant the legitimacy, then the sovereign funding. These practices, wherever these practices were good and well enshrined and well implemented, the results have been good. Wherever there are problems and bottlenecks, there are issues. So one set of actions, what the federal government needs to do. The second set of actions at the state level. Next down the administrative setup of that country, sovereign tiger range country. What the enabling things, what sort of coordination with the federal government, where all there are turfs, where one should act, where one should not act, but apprise the government. There are issues in several tiger range countries. When we got a chance to visit some of them. The coordination is very important. Third one is at the site level. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats which prevail in a tiger protected area, they need to be addressed. You need a site specific tiger plan. So all these traditional actions, I would rather call them as archetypals. You have a set of actions which is common to any tiger range country. That is what the tiger learning has been over the years. After 40, 50 years of tiger investment and caring for tiger in all tiger range countries, a set of overarching actions are common. Protection. We can't say this is important in India, not important elsewhere. It's important everywhere, whether at the exit point or somewhere, some place trafficking is an issue. You need collaboration of at different levels. So that was one. The second one is the what I was trying, I forgot in between. The second one is the kind of, I'll come to that little later, insights which the tiger implementation has provided on tiger biology. Now, certainly, there are practices which have been dovetailed to cater to this, to foster this. On tiger ethology, we know so much. We know the average home range radius of tiger in different tiger range countries based on radio telemetry. So practices have evolved. The zone of influence where people and tigers mutually interact, where one needs to focus more, is based on this principle. Then what is a viable population? We know from these insights we know. And what makes a viable population? Say, for example, 800 to 1200 square kilometer area in the Indian context makes a viable is important for a viable population. By that I mean 20 breeding tigresses. If you go by the standard sex ratio of is going towards female. This brings to totals up to something like 65 to 70 tigers, for which you need something like 1,000 square kilometer, 800 to 1,200, or say at least 1,000 square kilometer of totally inviolate area. What an inviolate area can do, why it is needed for tigers to multiply and complete their social dynamics, their tenurial dynamics, how much of forest you need in the periphery, because this is an animal species of metapopulation, source population, sink population, all those things are there, ladies and gentlemen. So a lot of insights on that. And then I was touching upon the archetypals. Yes, coming back to that, some actions are common, but some actions are very special. Even within a country like India, or say, for example, Malaysia, or any country, not all reserves have the same situation. So you need something very specific for that site. There may be a extremist problem. There may be some miscreants targeting that area. Maybe that area is close to the sea exit point. So you have trafficking issue, something very special. So that is exactly the differentiated approach. That is something, some archetypals which are very typical, something which are very specific. A plus B both have to be read together, and this has further given us more clarity on the wild tiger governance in tiger range countries. So, to sum up, we have normatives for protection now. I'll just read it out. There is no time. And I'm sure in the next GTRP meeting, we'll discuss more with our Tiger colleagues. We have scored all the Tiger range countries, and there is an indicative scoring pyramid. I have sent these slides to the organizers. They maybe, I mean, you may see them when you have free time. So, normatives, to sum up, normatives in the context of ecological status, they are there based on the tiger experience. Normatives in the context of human wildlife conflict, how much of ex gratia, how many rapid response teams you should put, what to do with the ones you capture, when to release, when not to release, why do you need a control room, what a control room should do. Well, Dr. Yadav spoke about the standard operating procedures in India. What needs to be put there? What is community stewardship? Why do you need them? How much you need them? Then normatives for active management. When do you need to bring in actively the prey base? What should you do? What techniques are working well? Can you borrow from other countries' experience? Kazakhstan people are doing great in reviving some areas, and some TRCs also are working hard to do this. Then site protection, ladies and gentlemen, is extremely important for any TRC. How many ranger stations you need per unit area? We found this to be, and there is a paucity in this, and in this context. I mean, I don't want to name the TRC, like 2,000 square kilometer area, 10 people. Now this is not enough. So you need more stations. For that you need money. So how many? What sort of a communication? Smart communication. This is an era of all smartness. So many things are prevailing all around. Smart crimes are happening. So you need some smartness here also. Then all sort of health hazard. There are 18 or 19 normatives which are available now, and then the disease prevention normatives. What should be a zoonotic buffer? Where all should it be there? And then the normatives for development. How do best to sync your tiger with development? Your tiger is a mascot for development. Tiger is a mascot for so many other things, for disease control. So we need to reach out to the general masses using these insights, which Tiger implementation has provided to us over the years, and the experiences vary from TRC to TRC. And last but not the least, I need to mention with a lot of emphasis on the zone of influence. We found broadly a 10-kilometer radius from the boundary of a tiger protected area is vulnerable all around. So, irrespective of any TRC, the changes which happen there, the contours of the forest, if they change, if they are disturbed, if the character of the forest is disturbed, so many things happen. And it's not good for people, it's not good for tigers. So, how they also subsume your corridors. So, ecologically, they are very sensitive. So, these were the things, ladies and gentlemen. Then, of course, the smart patrolling. So, many countries have evolved. The smart itself they call, in India it is M stripes, disease surveillance, habitat actions. Habitat actions, we can't just go on doing something and the biological carrying capacity is exceeded. Then what do you do with the animals which are more? They move out and they become enter into the human dominated land parcels. They become a pest. So the social carrying capacity read with the biological carrying capacity becomes relevant. Somebody in the morning session plenary was asking how many tigers you can have. You can't go on having them. I'm talking like this because in practice it's difficult. You need tigers, you need other practices as well. So where do you put that vision? That carrying capacity limit will vary from country to country, and that is what we call as the social carrying capacity. Many countries, of course, yet to reach that asymptotic level of biological carrying capacity. So we are far, still we have time. Smart communication, tourism regulation, staff deployment, frontline capacity, all these norms have evolved over the years. I salute all the tiger range countries. I compliment Russia and our respected friend, the chairman Amir Khan and Erina, and all my good colleagues and old friends for the hard work, and the Russian government for organizing this, and my dear colleagues from all tiger range countries for their active participation. Very useful it was indeed, the forenoon sessions and this session. Thank you so much.
Спасибо большое, уважаемый.
Thank you very much, my dear friend. What you were saying is extremely important and pertinent for us, and we relate to it. We speak about the standards and norms, and so how to address these issues. Very important, and
I think we
Выступление нашего друга.
and our friends show Varma presentation, who said that we need to use as a target